Hi there, I'm back again. This week's video is going to be about hay bales. I love the prairie hay bales on the long... Oh, there's a guy coming. The guy just stopped me, local farmer, because I was taking a picture of the field, so he's just wondering what I was doing, but he was super nice. Anyways, I'm just taking pictures in the fields. I love this time of season when all the harvest is in, and you can see all the hard work of the farmers. And it's actually a little bit green at the moment. Usually it's in a field of sort of brown and it's all golden, but it might be cool this way. So I did some drones, I took some photographs, so we'll see how those turn out, and we'll share them and edit them with you on the channel. Okay, so here I am in Luminar Neo. I have some shots that I'm going to be editing and going through with you. This is a drone shot, and obviously it's of a farmer's field and has hay bales in it. And yeah, I just thought we'd go through it and see. It's pretty well exposed, so I don't think I have to do much there, but let's just dive into it and see what sort of changes we can make. First of all, I always go to the develop tab for the raw information that's come through, and you know, typically I'll always reduce the highlights no matter what. A lot of the times I'll increase the shadow to give more brightness, but this doesn't really need it. In fact, I probably will reduce some of it and probably boost up the contrast a bit. Then I'll go down to the vibrance, and I always give that a couple of notches. It's a really green shot, so excuse me for that. I kind of wanted the whole golden field of golden browns and with the gold color of the bales on that field, but it's been such a rainy year that all the fields are even green this late into the summer, so it's kind of interesting in that regard. Anyways, we'll also go to the optics node here and just click on those. It's always useful when they allow you to defringe stuff. And then, you know, this is just an aerial shot. There's not much to it. It kind of stands, you know, on its own 2 feet with what it is. So let's go to the crop and see what sort of options we can get. I kind of just want to stick to the basics and do something like that. Get rid of that top part, and maybe I'll use the, with you right here, I'll use the erase option. And I'll just erase that little bit there. Let's see how that goes. Anything else we want to, maybe this little bit here, maybe that. Let's just try that. Some of these maybe do with some cleaning up. The nice thing about Luminar Neo is it has this feature to erase things without having to do it one at a time. Go back, do this one, do the next one. You can just select everything and then hit erase, and it will work on all of them at once. So that's a nice workflow time saver for you. It'll just do its thing. It takes a while for it to think about it. Okay, and yeah, I think it's handled that. Look up here, it's pretty nice. That one that was over here, yeah, cleaned it up pretty nicely. And I think we want to do a bit of a, well, let's do a bit of a sharpness mask over the whole thing, and we'll use a linear gradient. We'll pull it up from below. Into the distance, it gets a little bit less. So, and we're only going to do it to tweak, so it's going to work on this, it's going to do its thing, and little work on it in the background. And yeah, I just want the foreground. It's sort of not really the foreground because it's an aerial shot, but there is it because it's at a bit of an angle. It's not true. It's not up and down. So a little bleed off of sharpness is kind of appreciated. Okay, and it's done. I like that. It's just, I mean, that's pretty sharp when we zoom in. I mean, it is still pretty sharp there, but overall, it gives a bit of a tweak to it. Other than that, I think I'm happy with this picture. I mean, I could reduce the amount of green, but I mean, that's the shot. That is how it was on the day. So I think that just gives a little aerial flavor of the area that I was taking photos in, and I just thought it'd be fun to include that. So hope you like that one. Okay, so let's work on the next one. I think this one is about the best from the day, and it's kind of a little bit different to how I wanted things to go, but I think it ended up working okay. I just thought I'd go through it with you, and you can have a look for yourself. Sorry if my dog is making some noises in the background, snoring away over there. So here is the image, and I decided to focus on the foreground on this bird box and have a flavor of the hay bales in the background. And I used a higher f-stop to give some blur and separation. But let's go into this and do some edits. Of course, we'll go to the Develop tab under Raw first. We'll get rid of some highlights because it was a bright day. I'll increase some shadow in there. And I always add some contrast on. It's a pretty bright picture, as you can see. Do I want to do some more highlight reduction? Maybe a little. Then let's do our good old faithful distortion and defringe options there. And I'm going to increase the vibrance, but then I might go in and bleed off some of the green from that. So that's a good first step. I'm going to go into super sharp, and I'm going to do some masking because I don't want to lose any of this nice blurring in the background, but I just want to give a bit of the foreground a bit of a chance to have a bit more sharpness. Oh, it's did it upside down. Let's correct that. There, I think that's a good, because it gets mostly this sort of row of from the hedge, sort of a hedge. Okay, we'll go to adjustments, and I'll just hit low. Let's see what that does for that. All right, and that's pretty good. It's pretty sharp in here, and we haven't lost too much. It bleeds off nicely. And I think I'm going to go into the crop section now, and let's just play around with the sort of final composition that we might like. Kind of want to get rid of this bush in the bottom right hand corner. Let's see if there's a different, and maybe we do that. I don't mind a bit of it appearing, but yeah, that's looking good. And then let's see if there's any, I'm going to go to the Erase tab and just, because I've had some dust spots recently, and they have this good feature where you can just remove all the dust spots in one go. So it's going to go in and do that for me. Remove dust spots, and then if there are any, it'll just deal with it. It's nice to be able to do that. I've done that. It has a power line option there as well. I don't know if you noticed, and I've used that before, but it's not always quite as it's not always super successful. Sometimes if the power lines are really obvious, it will deal with them nicely, and sometimes if they're like a little bit more subtle in a scene, it has a hard time, and then it has a weird result. You have to it's more work to actually correct what it's done. So it's a mixed bag of results for their auto features. But I mean, with something like dust spots, it's pretty obvious and works quite nicely. Okay, now I'm just considering whether I want to get rid of some other details. Like I think that's a bit of a distraction there, so I'm going to get rid of that. Let's see how that goes. See, look, it's dealt with it, but it's made that a little bit weird, so I don't like that. See, you kind of have to decide how you want to deal with it. And if it's too much work, then I just won't bother, but let me just see what happens here. Yeah, that'll do. I think that'll do. I don't mind that. You can get a bit nitpicky about this sort of thing, but anyway. Oh yeah, I was going to bleed off some of the green, wasn't I? So let's just go into the color tab and we'll do that. I'll change it from hue to saturation, and I'm just going to reduce it a little bit. Maybe increase the yellow just to give a bit more vitality back here. You can in the bales themselves, and it gives a bit more color variation in the foreground and stuff with the yellow. But it hasn't lost too much. Then I might just whack up the orange because that'll hit the hay bales and the orange in this bird box. Let me just try that just a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I don't mind that. And then finally on something like this, it's a pretty easy thing to go to this is like an AI thing, which I don't necessarily love using, but I'll go to the sky enhancer and you can see what it does. It's just it knows where the sky is so well, and it's just going to give a little bit of a push to exactly from the top down, blending it, and it just knows what it's doing, and it works so well. Sometimes it's just easy to do that. So I think that's looking good. I'm going to save that. That's kind of representative of. It's funny because I ended up liking this photo, but that's not what I went out to shoot. And I'm sure if you're like me, that happens a lot. You go out for one thing in your mind's eye and come back with something different, but that works maybe better or just as well. So yeah, that's how that's going. Okay, and I just wanted to talk about this one briefly, a bit more than just showing the other ones that I did. Um, I was in the area, I was to do hay bales, and I saw this old barn, and all sort of decrepit stuff, and so I couldn't resist taking a shot of this guy. And I really love the structure, I love the colors in it and texture, the rust and the panels of siding and stuff like that. And I just love this sort of thing, how it's, an old farm thing on the prairie, and it's just decaying away.
So I couldn't help take a picture of that one. So I know it's not hay bales, but it's a flavor of the area. So that's why I included that one. And then I want to talk about this guy, which is, I said a couple of times in the video how I, wasn't liking stuff because the fields were too green and had been too wet a summer, and the fields were all still green. And I wanted that golden texture. And then as I was driving home, I saw a field in the distance that had exactly what I had wanted. So I thought I'd take a shot of that just to give you an example of the sort of thing I was looking for. So, I mean, this isn't really the shot I wanted of that, but it just highlights sort of this sort of thing I was wanting. So, it's not a bad shot, but it's not the sort of thing I wanted. So, um, them's the breaks. And another day we'll find some closer up version of this.
Okay, well, thanks for checking out all those images. It wasn't quite as successful as I hoped they would be, but that's the break. Sometimes you have great shots, sometimes you have mediocre shots and even poor shots. So I'll let you guys be the judge of that. The fields are a bit too green for my liking. I kind of like that sort of golden look, but the photos were still fun to process and take and all that, so hopefully you agree there. Thanks for returning to my young channel. Go ahead and like and subscribe and all that jazz if you feel like it, and we'll see you next time on the channel. I don't know what I'll be up to, but hopefully it'll be entertaining for photographers and artists out there. Okay, we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.